One of the most difficult questions I've ever had to pose to myself is which is better, the Addams Family or Addams Family Values? It's a really tough one. I mean, I do love both movies, and honestly, I don't think I can decide because I love them both in equal but separate ways. There's things about each that I really, really like. One thing I'll give to Values, the sequel, is that I mean it kind of dropped a lot of the unnecessarily complicated plot elements the first one definitely had. But the good stuff came with that too, though. I mean, though there was all this crazy stuff about, Fester being lost in the Bermuda Triangle, losing his memory, or did he? Is he an imposter? Whatever. I think that kind of challenged the kind of brotherly relationship between the two. And there's good stuff that came with that. And with Morticia, who very clearly has her suspicions right from the get go, and she wants her husband to be happy, so there's a conflict there. So, I mean, there's good stuff that came with that, but it was just all so complicated. Here, with Addams Family Values, the plot is definitely simpler, which is good. The less plot, the better. There's really just kind of a series of kind of milestone events that kind of get things moving. One main one, of course, is that Morticia and Gomez, they have a new baby, and is the silliest looking baby, comes out all pale, has a little mustache already. So we kind of get the terrible twos and threes from Wednesday and Pugsley. Also, notorious serial killer, the Black Widow, played by Joan Cusack. She's kind of moving in on Uncle Fester and the plans to kill him off and kind of abscond the fortune that's going to be left in the will. And kind of playing into that and kind of the jealousy with the new kid. The kids, Pugsley and Wednesday, they get to sent over to summer camp in kind of a very comedically opportune scenario with all the bright chipper young kids at the summer camp, and of course the Adams kids whose demeanor is a little bit less than sunny. So there's good stuff going on, and it's a very funny movie, but not a lot of plot. I think they learned a lot from the first movie, and that you don't need a complicated plot. You just need to have funny situations, funny scenarios, funny exchanges, things like that. Patented Addams Family morbidity, if that's a word, and it works really well. And I mean, definitely with the first movie, we had kind of the three tentpole performances from Houston, from Julia, from Lloyd. But here, I think one thing that I'll give this movie to is that they really, really kind of amp up Wednesday's role and Christina Ricci's role, who was definitely a highlight of the first movie. But here, they kind of trust her to take basically like half of the movie, really, and have her own it, basically. So, I mean, that's definitely a lot to ask for a child actor, but I think she pulls it off brilliantly. And I think those summer camp scenes are like the best part of this movie, like the funniest parts. And it is interesting seeing like the Addams Family in like the light of day and things like that. So to see them out of their element, out of place, it's a good comedic scenario, and some of the funniest stuff happens, especially with the little Thanksgiving play that they put on that has disastrous results, of course, which kind of even amps up, one-ups the Shakespeare scene from the first movie, which I loved, which was very hilarious. And I definitely like the plot with Uncle Fester and the new bride, played by Joan Cusack, trying to kill him, but finding it's a little trickier than anticipated since he can't seem to die. So that's pretty funny. And I got to give it to Joan Cusack too. She's brilliant in the movie. I mean, I think she is kind of an underrated actress. She does play these kind of a little bit wackier types of characters so well. I mean, there's toys and even like Mr. Wrong, School of Rock, In and Out, which she was nominated for an Oscar for In and Out. So I mean, she's great, and I do think she doesn't get enough credit, especially for a role like this, which is just it's so weird. She is kind of an antagonist, but at the same time, she's like a perfect fit for the Addams Family. If things worked out a little bit differently, maybe she would live happily ever after with Fester. But it's great stuff. really funny movie, patented Addams Family stuff, and there's not much to say because there's not really that much plot, which means there's less complicated crap to complain about, which had with the first movie. But they really kind of take advantage of everything we came to love for the first movie, and just really embrace it as much as possible, and give us an entertaining Addams Family movie as much as possible. So what can you really else can you ask for? Well, I know what I could ask for: a third movie. I just wish they would have been able to do one more, but unfortunately, I guess mainly due to Raul Julia passing. I think he passed away like a year after this movie. I think maybe, if not less. But Barry Sonnenfeld returned to direct this one. He directed the first film, and it's so weird how he can do such a great sequel, like with this movie, but do such a shitty, awful sequel like Men in Black 2. But maybe that's neither here nor there. But what can I tell you? I enjoy both movies. I love both movies. It's not a competition. That's why this DVD exists. You get two in the same package. It's a great double bill. Two great movies that I love, and I loved all that they brought in, all the new stuff in this movie, even the new little kid, new little addition to the Addams Family lore. So I love the movie. I love it. So definitely check it out too. So that's my review. And by the way, if you're wondering, like, if the baby, like, why he never kind of appeared in any other kind of Addams Family incarnations, like the new TV show or, what have you, I think in the new Addams Family, the newer TV show in the late 90s, there is an answer to that. It's implied that the kids, who, of course, in Values, they're constantly trying to kill him. It is implied in one episode in kind of passing dialogue that they do successfully kill him and then eat him.